Hello and welcome to a beer from the oldest brewery in the world. Yes, that's right. Today we have a beer from what is allegedly the oldest brewery in the world, Weihenstephaner. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, but bear with me. The official name for this brewery, the oldest brewery in the world, is Brewery Weihenstephan, which is unsurprisingly in the German town of Weihenstephan in Bavaria. And what we're going to be looking at today is this, which is their Heffweissbier Dunkel, which is also quite a mouthful. What we're expecting from this is something very traditional, dark, very German, probably banana, clove, those kind of flavours. But yeah, it should be interesting, and I believe this bottle is bottle conditioned, which means we need to pour it a little bit carefully. Before we break into it then, here is a quick look at the bottle. Very traditional German beer label on there. It's very nice though. It's quite a tall beer, to be honest. It's an awkwardly tall bottle. It doesn't really fit in my fridge all that well, especially given it has to be stood up. But yeah, there you go. Some info on the back we'll get into later. But let's do it. In the glass then, it's pretty dark. In front of the light, it's got a bit of an orangey hue to it, but for you it looks pretty just straight up brown. It's due to the gentle pour, the head's not very exciting, but I'm sure as we swill it around that might come to life a bit later. Quite a lot of carbonation coming up from the bottom of the glass. It is a bit cloudy, and yeah, it's quite a murky looking beer, but I am looking forward to it. So, aromas. Very bready, very German. I mean, and what I mean by that is it's distinctly German beer yeast. It doesn't smell like sausages and sauerkraut, if that's what you think I meant. It's sweet, bready, big, verging on Belgian yeast almost. It's got that sweet, almost sweet shop foam banana kind of thing going on. Some very mellow spice notes low down, maybe a little pepperiness. To be fair, it's probably the quintessential and distinctive clove that I'm getting there, but yeah, undeniably a mellow but distinct spice note. And with that breadiness, with that sweetness, and with that bit of spice, you're getting something that's almost carrot cakey. It is cake, but there's some more savoury notes in there as well, which is interesting. So let's get into it, shall we? Cheers. It should come as very little surprise that the oldest brewery in the world just so happens to know how to make good beer. That is an absolute classic. And I mean that in both the good and the bad way. I'm going to take a sip and I'll pop this down and talk about exactly what I mean. That has every hallmark that this beer style should have. The problem that maybe this beer has is that there's a good chance that, well, a lot of other people's interpretations of this style will have stemmed from this. And that means there's no surprise here whatsoever. It is mellow, refreshing, bit sweet, little spicy, rich. It has a toasty, breaded richness to it, but it's a pretty easy drinker as well, and I'm torn because it is fantastic, and it could even be the best of its style. But I don't feel like I'm having a new experience, and that is just a little bit disappointing, but it is delicious. In a minute, we'll do a quick top to bottom taste test so you can understand exactly what I'm talking about and how those flavours interpret and deliver their way through the beer. But first, a few facts about the brewery and the beer itself. So, as we've already discussed, it is brewed by the Weihenstephan Brewery, which is the oldest brewery in the world, dating back to 1040. It's very old. It's made with a combination of barley malt, malt wheat and hops, as well as a specialist yeast strain that apparently gives it this distinct flavour. Now, that specialist yeast strain feels, well, distinctly German, but also a bit Belgian as well, as I mentioned before. So, well, I suppose it is distinct in that regard. Traditionally, this should be served in a tall, narrow glass called a Weissbier glass, which, to be honest, I don't have, so I went for the closest tall, good general all-rounder that I've got, and allegedly pairs well with foods such as sausage, roasted meats and desserts. I'd go for the sausage, to be honest. I don't know, I guess this would pair with desserts. It's quite sweet, it's well balanced, but if this is sweet, I want something distinctly savoury to go alongside it. And to wrap up our little fact session, if you thought the brewery was old at 1040, well, the grounds that it's on are the old grounds of the old Weihenstephan Abbey, which was founded in 725. So whatever's on that plot has been there for a while. Right then, let's get to it. Top to bottom taste test time. So, initially, pretty low carbonation, quite sweet on the front of the tongue. Nothing too distinctive at that point. Second phase, bit of mild bitterness. You know you're in just distinct, easy drinking beer territory up to there. And then you get another drop, another hit of sweetness. This time, those banana notes really start to prickle through. There's definitely something more deluxe, more cakey coming forward. Quite refreshing in the mid palate. Go for the swallow. You get an instant little bit of sharpness from that spice, from the kind of peppery clove thing that it's got going on. And then it's really all about the aftertaste. More of that sweet banana, but also it has a toasted bread thing, but it's almost more like well done cake to me. It's not truly as savoury as toasted bread. It's got a bit more sweetness, a bit more, yeah. This is sitting just a little bit further into the confectionery aisle, really. But one thing I will say is it is incredibly easy to drink. Stunning. Right then, let's take a quick look at the bottle. So on the top label it says Weihenstephaner Heffweissbier Dunkel since 1040. It says the world's oldest brewery on the front of the label. Why did I do any research? It was all right here. It says premium beer. One thing that I had forgotten to point out is that it's 5.3%. So it's not strong, it's not weak, it's plumb down the middle really. It states the Bavarian purity law of 1516, which is funny because the brewery predates the law at this point. And the ingredients are water, malted wheat, malted barley, hops and yeast as per the German purity law, or sorry, the Bavarian purity law as I should say. It's got their address, their website, and it says store dark and keep cool, do not shake, because there was a bit of yeast in the bottom of it. But yeah, classic bottle, classic beer, something of a classic beer review. Not too much to talk about other than, well, absolute quality in simplicity, really. So for a quick final thought, while I might not have been blown away, if I go somewhere and see this available, you can be pretty certain that I'm buying it because there's nothing not to like. It's easy drinking, it's the right strength, it's got loads of character, but it's not too much. It's just very, very quaffable beer. And that, I think, is all I've got to say about it. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribe if you will be so kind. And I'll catch you next time. Cheers.